I really loved clowns as a kid. And my dad dressed up as a clown. I wanted to be Tiny Billy Bo. That was my clown name. I remember in first grade, I think, and I was cutting up and joking around in class. And the teacher was like, "What do you want to be when you grow?" It's like a clown. And the whole class laughed. He was like, "Oh, yeah." And he took me into the second grade classroom where I was about to be moved. He goes, "Go ahead, tell them what you want to be when you grow up." And I was like, "A clown?" And nobody laughed. And it just super embarrassing. It's like, okay. He's trying to teach me a lesson.
Did it work?
No, I don't think so.
It has nothing to do with a red nose or a big pair of shoes or a wig. To clown is to celebrate your failures in public.
A clown is not clumsy. Clowns are the most graceful things on the planet. Now, they may trip and fall, but they do it gracefully.
It's not that the clown falls into the soup, it's how he gets out.
Everybody's like, "Why are you a clown?" I'm like, "What do you mean, why am I a clown?" It's fun, like being a clown is fun.
Even just saying that you're a clown allows people to lift themselves above the mundane existence of human beings.
The world needs silliness. Like, you need to be silly at times.
We've got to take care of each other and laugh and perform and share art and share joy. That's why it's so important, why clowning and clowns in Shakespeare's time and the comedias and all the Ringling brothers and the Bozos and all the way up through the ages.
I'll juggle for you, but I'm not going to put down my coffee. Oh, shit, maybe I should.
People aren't necessarily wanting to see a clown right now because of the movies like It.
They became scary. I became scary. Clowns just became scary somewhere.
When you enter the room with the look, and the first instinct of people is like, uh-oh. That's not what it was back in the day.
Here, I think they would forgive me more if I had murdered someone. But the fact of telling me you're a clown, you're a what? You dare, I mean, I swear, I'm not joking. Something I love so much, I hide.
Clowning as we know it it's gone.
My name is Gilly. Can you say hi, Gilly?
Hi, Gilly.
Are you gonna sit? Oh, you don't want to? Uh-oh. Okay. Hey, look at me go! I told you I could do it. Bring it over here. Good. We're saying the same thing.
No, we're not.
Okay. Happy birthday, Wally! Check them out. Colors and pictures. Good. Wait, what? Hold on. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Mary, the caterpillar, was crawling on the ground.
There's a code of conduct for clowns. And smoking in face as a character is a big no-no. You know, so is drinking. I frankly don't like to eat as a clown. I don't know, there's something about you want to keep that mystery alive. A lot of kids are, you know, they see eating like, why are you eating? Like, you know. Kids are, oh, you're not a real clown, you know. I don't know what a real clown is, but I want to be it for him. I want to be a real clown for him. I've yet to find what a real clown's like.
To begin with, you have to realize that until the middle of the 1800s, nothing on Earth moved faster than a horse. At the end of the Civil War, 90% of America was living on small farms. And the engine that made these farms work was the horse. And every farm kid knew that you don't stand up on a horse. And a lot of them had broken arms to prove it. The first circuses were horse shows.
Originally, a circus was just horses. And then folks on horses started figuring out this is a bit boring if we just do this for 2 hours. So they started performing tricks on horseback. And out of tricks came comedy. And out of that comedy, they started thinking, oh, we need to actually hire professionals who do this.
There was a character who we can describe as an itinerant farm worker. He was unwashed, he was uneducated, but he was clever. In those days, everybody's clothes were gray and brown. But rich people had colorful clothes, and when they got torn or too dirty, they threw them away. So this character got hand-me-downs from the families, and that's the ragged costume. His shoes were always too big. His hat was either too big or too small. And to go into a circus ring where you could be seriously injured took a certain lack of inhibition. And the thing in our culture that removes inhibition is alcohol. And the sign of alcoholism is the red nose. And that's why clowns wear red noses. I know it's not true, but it's what I believe.
My thinking of the origin of clowning is like Grog eating the bone, right? With the blood all over the bone, And he comes up and he's got animal blood on the end of his nose, and his cave mate's like, oh. And Grog was like, oh. And looks in the reflection in the water, and he's like, oh. You know, and Grog did 8 shows a week with the bone blood, you know?
I had a big contract that ended as an entertainer, and so I have to take as many parties as I can because I have 2 kids. And at times I used to, like, I don't know, just not want to do parties a lot because I'd be hungover or what. I've been doing it for a long time and looking to phase myself out or whatever. And now, like, I need the money, you know? My kids need the money. They need the food. So that's been a big shift. It's been more of like a necessity than kind of like extra cash. You know, not exactly where I thought I would be at 43 necessarily, but here I am.
He was always a funny kid, liked to joke and laugh at every single little thing he did. But then as he grew up, we were part of a Methodist church and a youth group, and they offered a clowning workshop, and he just loved that. Then after he learned some of these skills, we had a silent auction thing at a nursing school. I'm a faculty member, and so everyone came up with a nice piece of art or something. But I didn't have any of that, so I had my son. So I sold a party, and he was a hit. I mean, they just loved him. So from there, he started being interested in doing it. Unfortunately, the church got a little aggravated because they thought he had learned this as a ministry, but he did realize it was a little bit of a moneymaker.
We met at one of his band's shows, and there was just something very sweet about him, and a little awkward too. He kept kind of hiking his pants up. Even though he had a belt on, his pants were falling off. I was wondering what he did for a living, hoping he wasn't just a musician, and he ended up telling me he was an actor. So that wasn't ideal to hear. I'm born and raised in LA, and to hear that you're an actor and I see you as a musician in a band is not gonna dazzle me.
Stamos?
But then he quickly threw in that he was also a clown. And for whatever reason, that did pique my interest.
Okay, guys, it's just us. Lift on 3.
That's basically the story of how we met. I don't think I thought I was gonna marry a clown. I just knew that this was gonna be an interesting individual, someone really creative. They had to be sweet because they work with children, but I definitely think that there's probably gonna be some stressors in being a clown's wife compared to, like, say, a doctor's wife or something like that, because there's a little bit of the starving artist in there. It's not a regular job. So we're always sort of wondering when the next gig's coming.
It's an interesting time because I feel like a lot of these things are kind of ending at the same time, which is a huge disappointment. But maybe all this shit's just ending, you know? Like maybe all these things are kind of coming to a close. I do know that you have to have things in to bring new things in, but these are just things I always loved doing that made money. I'm way more proactive with trying to get reviews and trying to make stuff happen. But it's been a little bit slow. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, you know, when I was growing up, clowns were much more mainstream than they are now. Now, clowns in the mainstream are the horror movies.
There's no good clown role models anymore.
It's true.
Our clown role models are It, right? Pennywise. Or Tommy the Clown is probably another couple generations before that.
Krusty?
Krusty, right. We had Bozo.
Listen to that! The siren sounds and it means it's time for the Bozo president.
Kids don't have anything. They just have the scary clowns now. So I don't know how we're gonna get over that unless they go and see things like Ringling Brothers Circus, which they can't see now. Where are the new clowns?
What was that?
What's your name and where do you reside?
Hold on real quick, let me just floss real fast. That's better. Oh, what's good?
What's your name and where do you reside?
Well, my professional name is Laffy Pants. I go by Laffy. I've had corporate jobs where I sat at the desk after my training day at 8 in the morning with my coffee and my little attaché, and I'm at the computer, and I just like, no way. And I looked at the guy next to me and go, hey, where's the bathroom? And he goes, oh, it's just, down the hall. And I just grabbed my stuff and was like, phew. Sure, like an hour later, they're like, hey, where's that new guy? Was in the bathroom an hour ago? And he's just like, gone, and swirl of papers down the hallway, And I think of the absurdity of it all, of being a clown as a job. And sometimes you look at myself, like, you're getting ready to go to a gig, and you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, what am I doing? Tell what am I doing? And other times you just like revel it, in the glory, the glory of being a clown and making people laugh or have fun for a living is pretty, that's pretty satisfying. It's actually a pretty selfish job because what I get out of it, it makes me feel good to make people feel good. That's the most satisfying part of the job. That getting paid. Hiya. Can you go ahead and do a rim shot? Don't do it yet. Why the chicken cross the road?
I don't know.
To say hi to the moron. No, wait, that's not the joke. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
It's the chicken. I should ask you, who I like as a clown. Like, is it Bozo? You like Ronald? You like Lou Jacobs? Whatever. Like, who's your favorite clown? I'd probably say, Groucho. I mean, there's this scene in Duck Soup, which might be my favorite entrance of anybody ever. And I used to try to do it as a kid. But he walks into it, doing his little Groucho, walk. And he takes a donut off of one plate. And then as he's walking by his table, just dunks into a random cup of coffee and splashes the coffee all over the tablecloth as he dunks the donut in. And he's like, and then you go back there and just digging a bite out of the donut. As a kid, I thought it was like, now that's how you walk into a party.
The Marx Brothers, the anarchy, but also the body as a comic instrument. I remember sitting next to my colleague who might have been stoned, I don't know. Groucho comes in a pith helmet and he says, hello, and he does the leg corkscrews, O'Connor could not stop laughing. And every time, I laboriously learned that step and have thrown in, still do a sort of elderly version of that. And every time I do it, I think that made O'Connor laugh really hard.
The genesis of it for me was we lived in San Diego and I would go to Shakey's Pizza Parlors and they showed silent movies. And the silent movies featured Keaton and Chaplin. And at 3 or 4 years old, I remember thinking they're doing superhuman things. How are they doing this stuff? How are they able to sort of seemingly defy gravity or do these crazy things? So I started to really study that, as a real young person.
My mom, to take me to get shoes, would take me to this place called Buster Brown's, and in it they had a Nickelodeon. You put a nickel in, and you go and you turn the crank, and it would be that. It was a Charlie Chaplin movie, classic Charlie Chaplin on roller skates, and I loved it.
I grew up watching the great physical comedians of old, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin.
The Little Rascals or the Three Stooges or Abbott and Costello.
Mostly my experience with clowns is Stan and Ollie, because when I was a kid, those films were on TV all the time. They would just run them over and over and over. So those are two very pure clowns, Stan and Ollie.
Somewhere along in there, I saw Marcel Marceau. And for me, that was the equivalent of David Copperfield making the Statue of Liberty disappear. It was magic.
My folks were old school, so all these clowns that made their way from circus to film and television. Emmett Kelly was part of that.
Also Lou Jacobs. I don't know, Lou Jacob. Lou Jacob. Lou Jed.
Well, my uncle was in the first class of clown college. I have pictures of me backstage at Ringling from before my memory. So I got to see my uncle as clown around people, and I just thought that was incredible to see people drawn to him and to feel the light and love that emanated from him.
My parents brought me to Ringling every time it came around in New Jersey. And after the circus would leave town, I would be stealing my mom's lipstick. And I would be, putting my dad's clothes on and dressing as a clown, making my dog jump through a hula hoop, making a circus of my own. I called it the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Billy Circus. Like, fuck Bailey, it's just Billy.
My first impression started at Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. I've always been a happy, skippy, unicorn sort of girl. So just the joy, the big smile, the energy that she gave off, I was like, I want to be that. And then when I saw the Ronald McDonald shoe in a parade, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get one of those shoes.
Ronald McDonald too. I remember seeing his commercials on TV and being rewarded by my parents for, being a good kid and going to McDonald's.
It was a treat. You hit a home run, in my Little League team, you get a Big Mac or a Sundae, your choice.
I loved Ronald and all his friends. There was nothing more fun than getting invited to a birthday party at McDonald's, eating chicken nuggets, and going out on that playground. And I just loved clowns. I guess in the 80s, clown pictures and posters were kind of big.
I grew up in the early 80s, so that's before it came out, before everybody got really afraid of clowns. I mean, I grew up with like Bozo the Clown, watching him every single morning before I went to school.
I would go home for lunch from school. For some reason, they would let me go home with, my mom wasn't even at home. I would go home by myself and make myself a sandwich and then sit in front of the TV and watch Bozo's Circus.
Who's your favorite clown? Hey, that's me, yay!
It really was Bozo. I remember Bozo and loving his show, and then going to Ringling Brothers, and I thought that was all still part of Bozo's world, so I was all like, this is incredible. There was at one point 180 Bozos throughout the world, so all these little towns thought that their Bozo was the biggest Bozo. And then WGN in Chicago had a Bozo show that was really popular, and then it became the Superstation, and it went to a bunch of different markets, which blew it up even more. At the time, Bob Bell was that version of Bozo, and that's the one I fell in love with.
In 1984, while the show was still #1 on its time slot, Bob Bell announced his retirement as Bozo. After a nationwide search, Los Angeles-based actor Joey Dioria was chosen to step into the giant shoes.
They had a huge search. They saw hundreds of actors in Chicago, and then they flew out here to Los Angeles, and I quickly made up my mind not to go, because I'm not a clown. About a month later, my wife read an article about the fact that the reason why they couldn't find what they want, the people who've been auditioning, were clowns. He says, I need an actor, somebody who knows old vaudeville and burlesque comedy who's under 80. Back then, I was only 30. I was there from 1984 to 2001. I have 5 Midwest Emmys, which out here is like saying I had the lead in my high school play.
I think we're gonna have a wonderful day today, don't you? A wonderful day!
So we had a big stack of photos, and it says, meet Bozo the Clown. And this little old lady comes up with her grandson, and she goes, look, sweetie, a clown. She says, are you gonna juggle for the children? I said, I don't know how to juggle. Oh, magic tricks maybe. You're gonna do some magic tricks for the children? I don't do magic. Balloon animals. You do balloon animals? I said, no, I don't know how to do that. She goes, you know, sweetie, you're not much of a clown.
There you go.
I think that I knew that physical comedy was like my thing
Because I grew up, I have 5 siblings, so I grew up always with a lot of children around at all times. And the universal laugh language is physical comedy. It is the most universal kind of comedy. It's the easiest way to connect with another human being, and that's clown. I grew up in a small town called Canyon, Texas. It's in the middle of the Bible Belt. Small town, small politics, and I was an outcast. And then I fell into the Idiot Workshop, and it was teaching actors how to be more in tune with their comedic side. At that point, I'd been out of college for like 4 or 5 years, and I was like, where has this been? I've wasted 5 years of my life not taking this, and then people were like, it's just clown. It's like elements of clown. And I was like, clown? Why didn't I take any clown? I was like, I didn't even know they had clown. Like, where do you take a clown workshop other than like going to the circus?
So, what are you doing here anyway?
I want to be a clown.
You want to be a clown? That's the funniest thing I ever heard. Clowning is only for people that are serious about being a clown.
I was a senior in high school, and a girl in my law class that I had brought in the program from the show. So I was like, hey, can I look at that? She's like, yeah, sure. So I grabbed it and thumbing through, just looking at the pictures. And there was a postcard for Clown College, and I was just curious. I already had scholarships to go to college. That's where I was going to go.
I went to the University of Miami straight out of high school and failed miserably. Left with no plan whatsoever but to try to become a famous, crazy stuntman. And I got no traction whatsoever. I was homeless for 3 years. Then I found out about Clown College, and I thought, man, if I was a trained circus professional, people would take me more seriously as a stuntman.
In college, I learned how to juggle and eat fire. My best friend was a juggler and taught me to juggle, and then I traded a bottle of whiskey for fire eating lessons with this group of jugglers that were passing through Hampshire College. Pretty much the 2 marketable skills that I got in college were fire eating and juggling, because my degree was in anarchist theory, radical thought, which doesn't necessarily do a good job when you're looking for it to work for somebody.
I was part of this youth group at my church that started this thing called Clown Ministry. And they were like, come to Clown Ministry, we'll teach you how to be clowns, we'll show you how to do the makeup, and then we'll go and do events, do outreach for the church and stuff. And I was like, great. And I was determined to get out of Chicago. You know, I was like, I gotta shake the dust of this little town and we'll see the world. So I was like, I heard about this thing called Clown College in Florida. You could go to Clown College for free. And then once they taught you how to be a clown, you were under a contract with the circus for 5 years. You have a job for 5 years. And I was like, perfect.
I was working in experimental theater. I was in Oberlin, Ohio. I go to the library. This wasn't the greatest library in the world between us, but, you know, clowns and the history of clowns. Something caught a hold of me when I was in my early 20s.
I was going to school for graphic design, and every project that I was doing was like clown related. You could tell so badly that that's what I wanted, and I was doing the wrong fucking thing, you know? My parents were always supportive, but like trying to steer me another direction. You know, I came out kind of young to my parents, so there was always fucking a struggle for them. You know, if it wasn't having to accept that I was gay, it was that I was a clown too. Sorry.
My parents were not thrilled at all about Clown College. I didn't tell them that I had applied or I auditioned, because I'm first American generation, so my parents had specific guidelines for me to do. They came to America for a better life. I'm gonna go to college, be a nurse, a doctor, something of that nature. So when I told my mom that I wanted to go to Clown College, she said, "You are not going to go to Clown College. No." It was a nightmare.
The written thing took like 2 weeks to fill out. It's hard. I joke that it's harder than my Syracuse University application. I spent more time on my Clown College one.
Right before I was about to send the application in, Steve was like, hey, did I hear you were interested in going to Clown College? And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, once you're in that contract, you're in the worst car on the train. You're basically shoveling elephant crap. You're not going to be doing much clowning for probably a couple years. And I was like, right, not going to do that. But that was like a path not taken, you know, like I could have done that. I probably would have had a very different life if I'd done that.
We were at the Denver Center for Performing Arts in this big open room, and there were probably 60 people there to audition. So everybody line up against the wall, and one by one, jump in front of the camera, say what your name is and why you want to be a clown. People were kind of moseying in front of the camera and saying, oh, I'd love to have a pair of big shoes, you know? And I just thought, they're blowing it, you know? Like, this is such a big opportunity. And so when it came my turn, I jumped in front of the camera and I said, my name is Steve Glover. I'm an aspiring stuntman from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I just hitchhiked all the way from Albuquerque because I didn't want to spend the rest of my life wondering if I would have missed out on the biggest opportunity I ever had. And I did a perfect, tight, standing back flip and then jumped out of the way of the camera. I think I made a pretty strong impression. Hey guys, I am Steven Glover. Most people call me Steve-O. I have devoted my life to performance art. As you will see in my 3-minute video, I have a history in gymnastics, diving, skateboarding, and lighting myself on fire. I truly want to be the best I can. I mean, dude, this is like extra. This is like, this
You've
is
got great penmanship, too. Congratulations, you've been accepted to the 1987 class of Clown College. Hold on one second. Holy God! It's like, I gotta tell my parents. So I had to run outside and say, Mom, Dad, I got into Clown College. They're like, what is Clown College? I was like, see, this thing, I copied it and I wrote it and I sent it on in and I got in. Oh, hell no, you're not going to Clown, you're going to college.
The acceptance letter came in, I opened it up, confetti falls everywhere, it was magical, and my mom was not having it. You know, I'm supposed to live at home until I'm married. That's the culture. Or I stay home and just take care of my parents. And then I ran away with the circus. I was like, no.
After I submitted my application, while I was doing one of my dumb, crazy stunts for skateboard companies, I suffered second-degree burns on half of my face. And it was like really pretty serious to where like in the morning, my face was stuck to my pillow and I had to peel it off. And that was the state that I was in when I got the call from Clown College saying, hey, you've been accepted. My face is terribly burned. I don't know how I'm putting grease paint on it. And as it turned out, I just have freakish Wolverine-like healing ability. I healed like that and off I went.
So you want to be a clown, huh? Well, you've come to the right place. This is Ringling Brothers and Barnum & Bailey's world-famous Clown College, the only school of its kind in the entire world.
My first time ever getting on a plane in my life, flew all the way down to Florida and got there, and you got all these new people coming in. And again, they're all like wide-eyed because these people are like, oh my God, I've always wanted this. And I'm just like going, I only found out about this 3 months ago, you know? like.
So I went to Clown College, 8 weeks in Florida. It was just like, I'd never been in the military, but it was a lot like that boot camp where you're thrown together with people that you would never hang out with on purpose. So I was 24, one of the older ones, and up to 29. And I was, like I said, had a master's degree, and one kid who had just finished high school or not, I forget.
Regular curriculum was clowning and mime work and juggling and unicycling and walking stilts and learning slapstick pratfalls.
And you're just like, wow, how does a human being sort of defy physics? You know, simple things like that we sort of take for granted or in our bag of tricks now, but at some point we saw those things and we're like, that's witchcraft, it's blasphemous. But then you break those things down and teachers show you and you start to learn that craft the same way you'd learn agriculture or sewing or anything else.
They were desperately nervous that we'd go out and misbehave. So, you know, they got us up early in the morning and they do the calisthenics on the tiger urine smell didn't quite come off the mats. They've been scrubbed, but they still, and they kept us working all day long. And then in the evening, they'd come and show movies. One of the things I feel lucky about is working first as an actor before I let clowndom pull me in. So I have that first basic skill, how to look at a script and go from there. I've worked with really, really gifted circus people, standing back somersault. But should I say this line said, Or should I say happy? I said, well, what do you want? You know, what does that character want? And that will tell you. That's like a first skill that you have to be introduced to.
You had all your classes, you worked on your character, everything, makeup, and you were working on material, and then we would put a show on every week for the local community.
It was very stressful. You know, you have this show every week and you gotta produce and everything's an audition.
Show your stuff, show your ability, show what you want to show. I was just trying to play it cool because I had nothing to show. And literally for the first couple days there, I kept thinking they made a mistake. Like they're gonna realize like, we called the wrong Carlos or the wrong whoever. So I just kept trying and man, I couldn't tell you how many times I wrecked. Any kind of way you could figure out how to hurt yourself, I did, but I never broke a bone. And I got good scratches and scars and I'm okay, let's go, let's go again.
I wanted to do what Buster Keaton did. I wanted to fall, I wanted the craziness of it, I wanted to do all of that. Don't treat me like any girl, treat me exactly the way you treat everybody else. Test me, go. Try to knock me down was kind of my attitude.
I remember we were doing Russian swing and we had this set and you could either jump through the top door or jump completely over the set. And so I was swinging and I got a late push. So I went up, landed crotch first on top of the doors, fell all the way down to the mat, popped up, ran into position. Hey, boom. Steve runs over, are you okay? I think so. It's like, you hit, it's like, yeah, I hit my crotch on the top. And I'm sweating, so I don't know if I'm sweating or if I've cut myself or whatever. It's like, well, you should check. I don't want to check. You know, I think that's why they gave me a contract. It's like, well, you can't break this kid no matter what happens. He wrecks, he decks, but he won't break. And
I made a really bad first impression in clown college. The first week, I was hospitalized in the middle of the night, having split my head, skateboarding drunk. And they had to take me to the hospital to get 5 staples in my head.
He was always like, hey, I'm gonna do a backflip off the 2nd story of our hotel with my hand on fire, get the footage. We'd be like, yeah, Steve-O.
And it's just like, what are you doing, you know? Like, 14 hours we trained every day, and then I would start drinking. I was never late, you know? In that respect, I was pretty responsible and professional, but I was always underslept, hungover, and, you know.
We were like, oh man, Steve-O, this guy's talented, but what's he gonna do? How is he gonna apply it? Like, he can ride a skateboard on his hands upside down. He can walk upstairs in a handstand. But what are you gonna do with that? Like, we were all kind of like, oh man, poor Steve-O, you know?
As candid as I had been about being an aspiring stuntman, like, I really fell in love with the idea of it. By the end of clown college, I was a clown. I wanted to be a clown. And when I didn't get the contract, I was heartbroken that I couldn't work in the circus.
I always wanted to be the best clown. And being a clown for Ringling Brothers was the best way to be a clown. It's like being on the Yankees of clowns. You know, if you think about how many guys are on the Yankees, it's like probably 20 guys or so. So to get a job with the circus, in my eyes, seemed more difficult than getting a job as a Major League Baseball player.
so what are you gonna do now? Well, I'm gonna go home, sir. I got scholarships for college that I've deferred, so I'm gonna go off to study theater and go on to be an actor someday. He's like, well, what would you say if I offered you a contract? Yeah, great. You go out that door, there's one waiting for you. All right.
Back in the day, whenever the new clowns came, they always came on the 1st of May. And all this circus lingo never left. So they would call the new clowns the 1st of Mays.
Being a 1st of May is an awesome feeling when you actually get to wear that title for a year. But other than that, it was grunt detail, man.
As the 1st of May, as a new clown, you get all the grunt work, the shit task.
You get to bring out the soap mat after the soap gag and unfold it, clean it all off, fold it all up, put it away. So it's like, all right.
It's like 4 degrees and you're shaking a wet mat that's bigger than this room. This thing is huge. And I was like, I've made it.
The greatest show on earth has its own private train with 52 cars. It's nearly a mile long.
A lot of people, the train is the thing that they miss most about the show. You're literally traveling through backyards all across the country and getting rocked to sleep, and yeah, I don't know, it was beautiful. I loved it.
I miss the travel. I miss the train. I miss the train. I miss the train. The room you slept in was 3 feet wide, 6 feet long, 8 feet from floor to ceiling. It was called a roomette. And for me, it was also weird too because I'm claustrophobic. So I got to the train, I'm like, okay, ooh, look at the train car. Okay, great. Here's your room. Shoo. What? This? I don't know if I can sleep in this, man. It's like, oh, you'll be fine. Just, you'll adjust to this, you'll fix that. There'll be plenty of room. I went on the road with a duffel bag and like one large suitcase. When I left the road, I left with a duffel bag, one large suitcase, and 7 boxes of stuff. Everything that you needed was in that room and everything was in this place. So I remember when I left the road, it was hard to spread my stuff out.
Also, when you're touring all the time and you're moving from city to city, you get really close to those people, and it's long days, you know? There were some cities where we were doing 13 shows a week, 3 shows a day.
When you do 6 shows in 2 days, you gotta have fun. Because we're all there, we're all tired, we're all working real hard. Best not to bitch about it. And it worked out great because I made the best friends in my life, and we're still really good friends.
When I didn't get the contract, I went home with this fancy, expensive, custom-made costume, which just hung in the closet. I had nothing to wear it for. I was selling pot. I was just depressed, and I would have dreams where I was in the circus, and then I'd wake up and I wasn't. It was just, I was overcome with sadness. Some of the clowns who were in the circus who saw my video had said, hey, let's get out of here and get a better job going. And they drummed up a gig on Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines and hired me for that. Now you're in this kind of luxurious cabin on a cruise ship making like $625 a week and just on a permanent vacation. So it was kind of cool that I got that gig.
Right out of clown school, I entered an ad in the San Francisco Examiner. It said, jugglers, tumblers, equilibrists wanted. And I called and said, I'm not fully one of those, but I do clown work. And the guy at Circus said, yeah, we're hearing from a lot of clowns.
Back in the day, if you were lucky enough to get into Ringling Brothers, this is a big if, that was maybe a job for 30 people. Maybe. But, you want to be a clown, you got to do something. So other clowns had to figure something out.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now to play Is This Anything? Oh my God, have I missed Is This Anything? Here we go.
I've done a lot of stuff out there. I've worked in all kinds of venues for all kinds of companies. Clowning and circus exists on a spectrum, and it's all the way from carnivals to concert halls. The whole range of culture from illegitimate to legitimate,
I was working graveyard shift at this diner that was in the East Village. And in that time, we started a weekly variety show at a bar in Williamsburg when there was only one bar in Williamsburg. Our shows would include drag queens, circus folks, spoken word, like a nice just variety of New York entertainers. Soon after that, we put everybody in the van and hit the road, and it defined our future.
Thank you for supporting live entertainment.
I was a basic science nerd, and my second year in college, I got caught in a thunderstorm, and the building I went into turned out to be the theater, and I got a part in a play. I was a terrible actor, but I juggled. And when I was in New Orleans, we went out in the French Quarter and juggled and passed the hat. We didn't have any props, we juggled fruit. I'd do a number with paper cups, I used to keep them on the bar. And they had bar napkins, and as I walked by, I picked one up and ate it, just to be stupid. But people laughed, and I thought, well, that's good, I'll eat another one. And then I had to figure out how to get rid of them. So it's been, I don't know, 30, 40 years that I've been working on that.
I remember my first time as a clown. I was a nervous wreck beforehand. I put on my makeup and wiped it off and refined lines probably about 5 times, probably hyperventilated on the way over. But once I got into the show and focused on the kids, it just flowed, and I knew that I was a natural at it. The other hat that I wear a lot of is nursing homes. The nursing homes are totally different. You're usually a lot calmer, and just talk to them one-on-one for a while. You're letting them know that you care, that they're there, and that they're alive, literally, for some of them. Some people in nursing homes have no visitors. It's a sad reality. But basically, I'm a birthday and a nursing home club, and I am thrilled to be that.
Man, this is gonna seem weird. My mom is an attorney, and my stepfather, who I grew up with, is a Superior Court judge. So naturally, I'm gonna be a clown. I mean, naturally, somebody's gotta break the ice in that family. I went through college and became a school teacher and taught school for 8 years. My neighbor knew I was a rodeo guy. We met at a roping, and he just said, "Have you ever thought of being a rodeo clown?" I was like, "Damn, the makeup, and I don't know." And he said, "Well, I'll give you $250. I was like, "Eyeshadow, or what do you supply the makeup?" I'm like, "What do you want?" So I worked out all these scripts, and I had this dog shrinking box, and I was gonna shrink one dog down and then have it mess up and make a bigger dog, and I had all these dogs. And on the way to the event, all of my shit flew out in the wind. All of it blew out of my truck, smashed on the interstate. All of my props, all my stuff, everything I was gonna do. So I just winged it. And that's when I realized my strength is honestly just winging it.
I got a kid in a white hat has not been clapping right there.
Anytime you have a show that requires children or animals, they're gonna make a fool out of you when you try to count on them. So you gotta have somebody who can capture the crowd, who can captivate them for that 40 seconds. Every good clown can get a crowd and put them right here in the palm of your hand. When you've got them in the palm of your hand, that's the best feeling in the world.
You know, it's weird because like I started cutting hair, and then like it just evolved to like, you know, I do art. I mean, I thought it'd be the craziest thing. Like, you know, artists, like they make money selling art. That's cool, you know?
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing explaining to my lady when we first started dating, like, "Hey, listen, I do weird gigs." Yeah. She's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, you never know." I mean, I'm not doing porn or anything, but like I'm just saying, like, I've done like weird music videos, weird like.
You do everything up until porn.
That's what pretty much to say, yeah. If it's not porn, I'll pretty much do it. I do wedding, like, you know, I'll cut up all the guys, but it's so hard to like rally them up. Like, I'll be cutting one guy's hair and like everybody's like doing drugs on this side. You got like, there wasn't a stripper, but like they'll be like, they're all on drugs. And then there's some guys over here, they're drinking, they're doing handstands, and then somebody's on the patio. And then like, I'm like, okay, I'm done with this guy. Who the fuck's next to, you got like 40, 50 people, you gotta cut all these guys up and they're all drunk. And they're like, "We got a clown cutter, hell yeah." It's just the craziest, it's a crazy time, but that's what they want. They want, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta do it. That one, they tried to sue me. Kanye wanted to take me out to dinner and talk about it, and I was like, "No, I'm cool."
I grew up in Richmond, Virginia. One of 7 kids, all giants. I saw clown I didn't know what it was, but I saw it everywhere. I saw it in Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. I saw them doing that. You can do that in front of an audience. Besides proper theater or opera or things like that, you can just be kind of an idiot in front of people. And that's what I was doing in front of my family, just to entertain ourselves. Well, that's what I want to do. I just want to be an idiot in front of people.
Yeah, I just finally decided at one point, like, this is what I want to do. Like, how long can I fuck around for money, like, and get paid somehow for it? And I'm pretty much as successful as Mike. Like, it depends on the metric. I don't want to get into it.
Goal or ambition. What I say on my resume for goal or ambition is to make people laugh and to pick up a few bucks along the way. training, watched a lot of Marx Brothers, did a little bit of stuff up at the San Francisco School of Clowning. Family support my decision. They didn't really give a shit. And by the time I started doing clowning, they were just like, yeah, whatever you think's good.
All right, here he comes, his tee shot. Not a bad putt right there. Uh-oh. Now here comes the pie, because anytime you miss, you get a pie in the face. No. Oh.
The last party went well. Now we're headed to our second party.
Sorry about that. They're dangerous.
I've probably done 4,000 parties over the years. Like I did 1,000 in my first 5 years. I'm doing it 25 now. I don't know. But as far as the profession is concerned, I'm as ambitious now as a clown as I've ever been. I mean, I've got kids that need things. I have summer camps. Every opportunity that I can make some money, I will. Today, I was supposed to maybe do something with my kids. I didn't tell them that I was gonna do anything, but I had a last minute thing like, boom, hey, can you be an hour and a half? Sure, $400 out the door for 2 hours. Like, that's awesome.
Hi, my name is Guilford Adams. I'm 5'9", I live in LA, and I'm a professional clown.
At the end of the day, I still have bills to pay. You gotta pay your rent or your mortgage or whatever it is you had.
Circus folk are just like everybody else. We go to school, we go to college, then we get married. I don't know how many of our children of the circus will want to go on to clown college, but at the moment, all of them have to go to school. But don't worry, there's plenty of time for our kids to have fun, too.
What does your son think about his mom being a clown?
All right, now we have two versions, preteen son and teen
tell us, take us through the journey.
Yes. Preteen son, best mom ever. No, I'm still the best mom ever. Preteen son, he even dressed up, and when I did children's church, he would hold a spinning plate with his big smile. Preteen, great. Teen, does he want to twist a balloon? He can, but he doesn't want to because it's not cool. He'd rather work at a shoe store in the mall. Like, do you understand the math of your hourly rate versus my hourly rate?
I started out clowning as an aside. It wasn't as a career. And that was no threat at all to the family. I still had my job and they still had their dignity. And the kids were young enough at the time that it was cool that mom was a clown. When your kids get to be teenagers, it can be a little bit of the embarrassment stage, but no matter what a parent does at that age, it's embarrassing. So most of the clowns just let it roll.
We did a talent show. Like his baseball team had a big party and they were like, oh, let's do a talent show. And I came up with this quick 2.5-minute juggling routine, stood on Timmy's shoulders and I juggled 3 clubs and they came down and Keaton was just sitting there. He's like, that's my mom. And all his friends look at him and they go, dude, your mom's lit. That's super cool.
With my daughter is a big emotion, really. It's a really, really great emotion. But it's my daughter. And you know, papa and daughter sometimes. He said, Noemi, you must do this, you must do that. No. There is a little bit, you know. And then in the poetic moment, we forget everything. But it's okay. It's fantastic work with my daughter.
My kids find it kind of embarrassing. My dad's a clown, that kind of thing. If it were me, my wife says, like, if we'd go to a carnival or something, there'd be a small circus there. She's like, could you travel like this and like live like this? I was like, yeah, I could. The kids could go to school. They could learn some tricks and like part of the act. You know, to me, that's like hilarious and fun. But for her, it's like a nightmare. So
even would go on dates, stuff like that. It's like, so what do you do? Well, you know, I'm an actor and a performer, stuff like that. But would I tell them like, oh, I'm used to be a circus clown or I'm a clown? No, absolutely no. I actually went on a date one time with a girl. She was over at my house, and there was one picture of me up in makeup. She's like, you're a clown? Well, no, see, a long time ago, I was in the circus, like, oh, no, no. There's no way I can tell my friends I'm dating a clown. All right, well, I thought we were having a great time, but.
Shut up, no, you didn't.
That's when I was single, it was the most horrible thing ever. The chick I got right now, we're kind of battling. This is hilarious. So I have a lot of clown dolls, but she's like hiding them. I'm like, why are you hiding the clown dolls? And she's like, I don't like clowns. And her friend was there. She's like, what? What do you mean you don't like clowns? And she's like, I don't know, like one clown. And I was like, okay, that's good. But it's not good because this is a lifestyle. I mean, I get a lot of support from my family, a lot. You know, my mother, my dad, I was hanging out with them all day. It would be hard if my family didn't like it. It would be hard. They don't disown me or whatever, but they don't, so that's good.
I don't think there's been anything that's like shocker. There's more so things that are just regular parts of being with a clown or dating a clown. There's always like a red nose kind of like rolling out of the back seat of the car, or you get into the passenger seat and there's props or balloons. There's balloons everywhere. Find them in the driveway and everything.
Once I had kids, I needed something a little bit more steady. When the Ronald program came about and they were looking to audition, it felt like I needed to take the job, and put any other aspirations I had or the clown company and that sort of stuff, kind of, put that to the side so I could do this other guaranteed amount of money. You take the open door, right? Full-time employment becomes more important.
Yeah, I didn't know that's what the job was at first. They sent me to go do this audition, which I thought was, I didn't know how the McDonald's thing worked. I thought it was for a commercial.
Food, folks, and fun.
By the time, I was making an all right living just doing, my clown stuff around town. And I was thinking, maybe I don't want to work. Do I want to work a corporate gig? So I set a number down in my head that would be near to get me to be like, yeah, I'll take a corporate job.
We used to make fun of Toms, or can we say Ronalds?
Sure, what's Tom to you?
Well, it was Ronald McDonald. It just wasn't traditional circus clowning to us. It was just a guy. It was a franchise character that, it wasn't your own makeup, wasn't your own character, it was someone else, but it paid. So when you got nothing else going on, guess what you're gonna do? It's amazing what will change when you're getting paid.
They slid me a little number across the table. I looked at it, inside, I was like, but I poker faced it and said, I'll call you tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow, let you know. Of course I'm gonna take that. Sell out like crazy. Ronald! What you don't realize when you're younger is, how hard it is to sell out? These kids are like, oh, you're a sellout. I'm like, yeah.
You know the one McDonald's for food, folks, and fun.
Well, you really are sick, aren't you?
AJ is an old carny. He started the Ronald Field program.
Are you crazy?
After the character Ronald became established, AJ was hired to play him, and then he developed this program where they hired Ronalds all around the world to be regional Ronalds.
Show me a picture of Willard Scott as Ronald McDonald. First thing I did was change that fucking makeup. Yeah.
Isn't that McDonald's hamburger delicious?
Mom told me never to talk to strangers.
Well, your mother's right as always, but I'm Ronald McDonald.
McDonald's had the best clowns in the world.
Absolutely.
I know, I picked them. I would go into any back of any arena wherever I saw the clowns. I would walk in with shakes, fries, and burgers. Those guys would eat one of the burgers and wrap one real nice and put it in their makeup kit for the next day. Ringling didn't pay them a lot. They were leaving me.
So at its height, what you think, there was maybe 500 Toms?
Easy.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I flew all over the world 5 times, and it was the best gig in the world. If I had to pick a life, this would have been a good one.
Have a burger, have a 6 happy
Maybe he needed to update his look. His hair was still that 70s poofy, Burt Reynolds-y.
What is like his hair is combed, but not a natural color, and he's way too happy. And he's trying to sell me that food. Yeah, Ronald scared me. I wasn't sure about Ronald.
I'm the manager of the band. I've been with them since close to the beginning. These mutated fast food mascots come out playing these Black Sabbath riffs, and this crazed clown is screaming about GMOs and Monsanto, and it was like the best thing.
They can't see it because they're GMO blind!
It didn't seem like, to me, like it would be widely marketable as a thing. I just thought it was too damn weird and too much like what I specifically wanted. Before I knew it, we were like touring England and playing a festival with Kiss and Motley Crue.
Everyone, give it up for
I think if you look at Ronald's performance, it's nothing but positive, and he makes sure to keep it kid-friendly, and he comes off, I think, as a very jovial clown that's acceptable to people of all ages.
That was weird. That was weird, Ronald.
All human endeavors have oppositions attached to them. So in the political sphere in the United States, we have Republicans and we have Democrats. So what is the opposite of power? Because we know that power is a fundamental ingredient to human society. And I would argue that the opposite to power, in some ways, is the clown. Its function in societies is often to poke fun at or to sort of diminish power. And notice that in dictatorships, comedians are banned. So that tells me that power can't tolerate comedy.
The status of clowns is so important, right? People are always trying to sort us into positions of hierarchy. And in fact, if you really know human beings and you really love human beings, you know that we're all equal. Status is bullshit. There actually is no difference between a famous person and a non-famous person. There's no difference between a rich person and a poor person other than the money. You don't have to earn your worth. You already have worth. You already have worth just being alive.
As we grow up, we learn the things that we're not supposed to do. So as you're getting older and the world forces you to be certain ways in certain places. And clowning can very much be about getting rid of all of that. Failing is unthinkable to some people, but that is, in clowning, that is a big thing. We get ourselves into trouble and try to get ourselves out of trouble.
Problem solved. Thank you.
It's really sort of about that child inside you, like the kid that fell in love watching Bozo. You know, that spark and that curiosity and all that fun, and to be able to laugh at how silly you are, like how foolish we are at times.
When I watch my 2-year-old son exist, when he's at home and he's just trying to put his shoes on and he's falling and then and I'm like, he is a textbook clown.
Yes.
To me, that's the core of traditional clowning, is that childlike innocence and that childlike discovery.
My father, we have a circus in Italy. I'm the 7th generation in circus family. I started like when I was like 2 years old, they put me on stage and I never stopped since then. I always did comedy and clown with acrobatic skills because my father was acrobatic teacher and I mixed that. I have to say I never went in clown school. I always learn and watching other clowns and sharing the stage with them. And that was the best school I think I can have, like improvising with them.
Well, so I was 10 when I decided I wanted to be a clown. So that's cute to say for a while, and then it's like, well, okay, I need to work towards that. I can't just say that. So then the skills were the thing that's like, okay, well, here we go. We're gonna learn how to juggle. We're gonna unicycle stilts. All of the skills that I can pick up that can be helpful, I'm gonna work on that.
For some people, they just want to put on funny clothes and wigs and have people laugh at them, and that's a road. For me, it was always like, how do I execute that turn or twist or timing to get the maximum laugh, you know? That was always kind of my road to clowning, was mathematical.
Balloons are definitely my strength. I teach it in school sometimes in art classes just so they can learn about creativity in different mediums. I've twisted everything from, of course, a balloon dog you can wear on your wrist to a dress made of all balloons.
One day I was working at the barbershop and this guy just comes in with a unicycle, rolls in, he's like, hey Richie, you need this. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm doing this. So all day, just falling and back up, falling and back up, and I did it that day. At the end of the day, yeah.
In the beginning, you're tossing it down on the ground, trying to learn it, but then pretty early on, you get what's called the boomerang catch, which is throwing it, and it comes up to the hand like that. And then from there, just tossing back and forth.
It's definitely the fat suits have been my thing. And not many people can ride a horse in one of those because it's, you know, the horse isn't real keen on it anyway. And then, you know, I get on there and then I put the reins in my teeth and let go. When you're successful at it, when you ride better than most cowboys, that blows people away.
If you want to play like you are capable and smart, or like in the case of Mike's friend Puddles, if you are like immensely talented and you're this beautiful singer.
In sin and misery.
If you're gonna play that, if you're gonna exercise that much control or talent, then you better find a way to show them how human and frail you are. And you better find a way to be foolish and need them to sort of cheer you on.
I'm not gonna try to be the wittiest person in the room. Like, I can fall on my face and it will work every time. People are like, you're gonna break your neck. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, anyone can break their neck. We all got necks that can be broke, but like, I got a pretty strong neck. I can fall on my face and it's fine, or it has been anyway. I'm getting older now and I think I've got a shelf life that is quickly evading.
There were a lot of shows like that where people were like shoulder injuries and knees blowing out, and then like you'd see them the next weekend like taped up, like, let's get back to it. I think about that now and my back hurts just thinking about it. And you guys gave me like a hard piano bench to sit on. You didn't even give me a cushion.
When you look at Marcel Marceau, I did a photo session with him once, and we, you know, do things like this, standing side by side, and this photographer was beside himself, you know. It's Marcel Marceau and this other guy, and they're doing things, and so he said, how about if you jump in the air? And I'm thinking, okay, I get ready to jump, and Marcel says, I don't jump. And I learned something from that. I said, oh yeah, you gotta take the prerogative of age.
There's not the best retirement plan in clowning. So 15 years ago, I saw a 93-year-old plate spinner. His movement on stage was a lot slower, but his timing of getting to the plates right before they fell was gorgeous. But it was in that moment that I was like, oh, I should start thinking about what I can do, you know, as the body slows down a little bit.
I feel like I gotta do more. I dedicated so much. I altered my body. I got clown hair. I wear clown clothes. Like, I'm all out. But I have to like own up to it. I feel like I gotta be like the shit, you know? So I gotta do more stuff, you know? I gotta get better. Gotta get better.
And what is that compulsion to do that?
What is that compulsion?
Why do we feel the need to like stand in front of a hat trying to kick it on your head for hours and hours until you can make the hat go on your head every single time? I would say for me, it was being the only child of a single parent who had to move around a lot and was always a new kid at school, and having to develop some sort of outward personality to achieve likability. And for me, it was doing puppet shows, paper bags with construction paper in first grade, behind the desk, puppets up, you know, in these 4-minute shows at recess. All of a sudden, I was like big man on campus in first grade at the new school.
I just want to be beautiful like you. Anyone help him? He's lost. He can't find the exit. I just want to be beautiful.
X'd. They're like, go die. Like people, you can see their faces. It's the most visceral thing. It's a gladiator stadium. And they're like, kill him. Kill him. They're like, F you. Like they are screaming at you to go die. And I'm up there like, oh, I thought we were having fun. It is a group of people that are like, we either will worship you or we will want you to go kill yourself. And I get out there and I'm like, you're gonna wanna kill me. By then, I mean, half of you, at least half of you are gonna wanna kill me.
Bulls, or he can kill you. I mean, I am a 47-year-old man with a hip replacement. I fractured my skull twice. I broke my back 3 times. I have had 3 knee surgeries, 2 shoulder surgeries.
You want some of this? You don't want none of this. Your mama's a cow. Get out of here.
On the way here, I stopped and got 6 injections in my spine to kind of keep things moving. This is a dangerous job. Really, I'm a stand-up comedian on the world's most dangerous stage because you never know. And I've had bulls flats run straight over the top of me. In Tucson, it's a 7-day rodeo. I probably was hit 25 times. So you gotta just take that as part of this job. But the hardest thing for me, honestly, is when a crowd isn't really into it with me. I get drained. I always tell myself, well, those are the ones you gotta push harder and you gotta double your energy and go after them. But that's the emotional wear down. Emotional wear down is way worse than anything physical for me.
To me, clowning comes from pain. And until you really understand pain and suffering, it's hard to connect to your audience. Because you're trying to, in a sense, understand that pain and suffering that we all go through in human existence, and sometimes mirror that, bring light to that, but also help us transcend the things that are pulling us down.
Obviously, I have experience too, but I don't have 24/7 experience of being a clown.
It's a ride, man. It's a ride. I'm a human being, dude. But it is difficult because everybody wants to be on all the time. All the time. Make me laugh, clown. Like, do this. You're like, dude, chill out, you know? But, you know, you gotta enjoy being who you are. If you don't enjoy being who you are, then you're gonna hate life and you're gonna hate everybody, you know? Like, I forget that I'm like this sometimes. I'm like, what are you looking at? Oh, yeah. Like, I'm a clown, you know?
Watching a clown, it helps us pull back and see ourselves, maybe not take ourselves so seriously or recognize some hopeless struggle that we're involved in, like Sisyphus pushing a rock up a hill, you know, like, it just reminds us, like, you know, we're pathetic and we're ridiculous and we're fine, you know? We'll continue.
It's just about the impulses, the pure impulses, from pure dark to pure light and everywhere in between. So clowns were pure, and they had a positive place in society and representation, and they were faces of brands and etc., which makes them the target for people to use that. And like, how strong is it, this pure image? If you take off the mask, it's evil. That's a great story.
I would tell people and say, hey, you know, I'm a clown. And they say, oh, I'm scared of clowns. I don't know why they say that. I don't know if it's because of it.
You know, somebody, before they have the opportunity to see us, is going to picture in their head what a clown is to them. And what a clown is to most people is it. Because that's what they're seeing on the billboards for the movies and the trailers on YouTube, you know, all that shit.
Probably what happened at some point when you were in that stranger danger time of your life, which all babies go through, somebody picked you up and said, Here, look at the clown.
Some people have that fear from when they were a kid because parents are like, oh, no. Here, you'll like the clown.
Scare my baby, they'll have the baby there and it's crying. I'm like, I don't want to scare your baby.
The makeup was something otherworldly to them at that point, and you became terrified, and you carried that through until you saw that this clown, in fact, was a very gentle clown.
I came across this audition notice for Terrifier. They were looking for a tall, skinny guy that had physical comedy experience or clowning experience to play art. And I was like, yeah, this could be great for, a reel or something like that. But, it's a low-budget independent film, so I did not expect Terrifier to become this cult classic. It just exploded in ways that we did not expect. I've loved having this freedom to just really cultivate this vicious and mean character, but he's also kind of silly and funny at the same time. And it makes you question what you're laughing at. Because he does horrible things and people are laughing at it. I've actually gotten messages from some professional clowns like, how dare you do this to the craft? Even growing up in Alabama, I had some friends that did professional clowning, and you're like, David, man, you're giving us a bad name. And it's like, no, that was Gacy's that gave you guys a bad name.
You're really weird, you know that?
Whenever somebody meets you, they want to spring their pedophile jokes on you or whatever. That's like the big thing is like clowns are like, molesters or they're, kidnappers and killers of kids. Which is, totally unproven.
Maybe you've seen the headlines. Neighborhoods across the country on edge after a series of scares involving people dressed as clowns.
I did a job one time where literally all I had on was a nose, a little bit of eyeliner, and a derby. And someone's like, oh, I'm terrified of clowns. What? Really? Oh, really? Someone over there wants attention. So they got to scream that out, oh my God, I'm terrified of clowns. And put all the focus on them. All right.
Sometimes at a cocktail party, you're a clown, aren't you? I want to tell you, when I was 3 years old, you've heard them all. People speak of the real animus. And now when you go to the costume stores and joke shops, I'm looking for just a nose. Oh, we don't have a nose. We have that mask, or you can have it over here. No, I'm just looking for straight stuff.
I understand what people are afraid of, but I don't think that's the clown's fault. Like, I'm not afraid of Dracula. I'm not afraid of St. Bernards. I'm not afraid of old classic cars that are possessed by an evil spirit.
Look at this tough guy. Look at this tough guy over here.
But I understand people being afraid of things, but it's not the fault of the thing they're afraid of.
What is going on with the clown thing? I don't get it. So I don't weird. either. But they're scary.
Clowns have gotten such a bad rap. I mean, it's kind of absurd what a bad rap clowns have gotten. Something about the hidden nature of clowns freaks some people out. So I think people have just used certain aspects of the clown that have mystery and have decided to make that mystery something sinister.
Reality-wise, though, it has cut down on the number of birthday parties that I have because of the scary clown situation.
It caused a lot of my friends to lose a lot of work for a while. And like, they've done nothing wrong. I don't think they realize that underneath that makeup, there's people. There's people who have jobs and careers and families that relied on that. And from this made-up hatred, you cost people jobs.
The end of an era for many of us, including many of us right here on this desk. Overnight, we learned that the greatest show on earth is coming to an end.
Ringling Brothers closing has been like somebody dying for me because it's something that I really grew up with and loved so much.
I was devastated when I found out Ringling was closing. It was an end of an era, a great American tradition. And it was such a big part of my life. It really shaped who I am as a person. And it's also heartbreaking because there's so many of us who are working and it's just one less venue.
According to McDonald's, their red-nosed mascot is laying low, the company being, quote, mindful of the current climate around clown sightings.
Before I lost the McDonald's job, I got into a horrific motorcycle wreck. 7 skull fractures, including my jaw. And while I was in the hospital,
That's when I got the email saying, well, we're ending the Ronald program. And I was like, am I just a morphine? Like, what are you doing now? So that sucked. And I came out of the hospital before my jaw's even unwired. My landlord comes by and goes, I know it's a really bad time to talk to you about this. So yeah, 3 things. I almost lost my life, then found about losing my job, then lost my pad. And that was a shocker. So at that point, I didn't really want to think about what's my next career. Do I keep doing birthday parties? Do I try something else? Do I go into another field? What do I do?
I don't know. It's hard, man, to stay in this business for so long, and to get one job is impossible, let alone to string together 27 years of jobs. Like, that's an accomplishment.
It was a clown death, man. Like the love fell away. They didn't, like, we don't need them anymore, or they're not as important as we think. And it just started drifting and drifting and fading away, and poof.
It feels like clowns are on the chopping block, right? I mean, all these old art forms are just going by the wayside. I mean, everything is going to be AI or whatever, I think.
I'll step on it, don't worry, bro.
Your clown doesn't put on makeup.
Very often anymore.
Right, right. What was the impetus for that? What was your thinking on it?
I'm not into any facade or boundary between myself and the audience. To me, it's about stripping all of that away, all of it away. Strip it away, strip away, strip away, strip away. Strip away everything that isn't about you and the authentic person and performer that you are. You know, everybody was always like, what was your clown name? Matt. That's your character.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Heidi and I talk about a lot, my wife. Yeah, we're cheerleaders in this act, I'm a lion in this act, and you're a lion tamer, blah, blah, blah. But it's you, it's just you.
Yeah.
And it can be you having a good day or a bad day or whatever. I think that's more interesting. Where's clowning going? I'm hoping that we're stripping away from the large arena shows and these huge performing arts center shows a bit and going back to this, which are these little traveling, you know, vaudeville stages, more than circus even. That's the way it's different now, I think. It's variete instead of elephants and horses and tigers and big floppy shoes and noses. We're just trying to be authentic in here and get back to that. That's what's interesting and that's what's missing in our society. And so people find it unique. Like, oh wow, you're actually engaging me? Oh my gosh, I haven't had that, you know. I'm 13 and I haven't actually been engaged by a human before. You know?
Yeah.
So they're like, this is fresh.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, man, this is old. You know, this is old.
If you go a little bit deeper, you'll see clowns in a lot of things that you love. They might not be wearing the traditional makeup, but clowning as an art form doesn't just depend on the makeup. Clowning as an art form is a state of mind. It's telling the audience, I'm an eternal character. I'm living through everything you're living through, but I'm failing at it. And hopefully that's funny, you know?
If you asked me in the beginning of my career, I would probably say that you needed to have those tangible items, like you gotta have a wig, you gotta have a nose, and you gotta have shoes. If you don't have those things, you're not a clown. Now, as I've stripped myself of all of these things and I'm still doing the work, I see it through a different lens because somebody doesn't necessarily need to have a big old circus face to do an intimate birthday party.
Sometimes you come into a small room and you're playing like there's someone 300 feet away. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's like, that's a lot. If you're in a black box theater with 40 people, you don't have to play to the lights, you know? Like,
Oh, I want to see that.
I actually, I'll take that back. If you do this, I'll come to this show. Don't you notice this? Like, anytime you try to create an example in clown of what a bad idea would be, As soon as you say it, you're like, oh my God.
That'd be great.
That'd be
Yes, let's
amazing.
make that.
The only thing we need is a smile and eyes. You don't need to have makeup. Actually, to be a clown, you don't need to have makeup. I see some great clowns and there was like almost no makeup. Of course, if you have a red nose, seems more easy because people is like, okay, this guy gonna make me laugh. That's my makeup because I like to wear this one. But you don't need to have a heavy makeup if you want to make laugh people.
I wore a red nose probably for 20 years, and I decided one day to get rid of it. But I forgot that I had made that decision. So I took it off, I had elastic on it, and I shot it into the wings. It didn't make a difference. Immediately, the critiques of the show talked about the existential journey of the character, the poetry of the show, and they stopped talking about children.
We did a version of the Odyssey, where we performed it in 20 minutes for a bunch of kids and threw a bunch of clowning and stuff in there. Try to make an ancient story accessible and give the kids a little edification while they're watching somebody take a squirt gun to the face.
There was a sale on thongs at $1 a thong at the local 99-cent store, so I bought 5 thongs that were the same size, and then I bought more and more, and I'd take off a lot of underwear really fast with my bathrobe. There's no makeup, no nose. Now that guy's making me laugh, and he's not speaking. You know, oh, it's funny, and then it's like, oh, I'm clowning. Surprise.
In 2020, everything shut down, and we basically decided to create a live online variety show. So we were able to include acts from 6 of the 7 continents. We almost had a ukulele player join us in Antarctica, but the governments wouldn't let her use the Wi-Fi signal for us. When nobody else was paying anybody anything, Bindlestiff was paying artists to do the work they do.
Mine's become a whole, like, personal journey kind of thing.
Yeah.
And trying to bring back Bozo's been challenging.
For the first time in 60 years, the ownership rights to the Bozo character has been sold to actor David Arquette.
I kind of approach it that I love clowns. That's at the heart of it. And just trying to bring some light to the dark world right now.
Have some fun, 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 fun.
Healthy Humor is an organization that sends medical clowns into different hospitals. They just transform the energy and lighten the world up for the time that they're spending with these kids going through a hard time.
I have a daughter who is 11 years old, and at 2 years old, she had to have a 9-hour operation. And so our entire family were all gathered around the bed while Alice was still asleep, and then gently she began to wake up. And she was confused, and she began to cry. And then she began to scream at the top of her lungs and was inconsolable. We, as a family, were doing everything we could to calm her down. I then reached out to close the curtain because this was such a private moment. And as I did, I looked down the hallway, and there were 2 clown doctors. It took 30 seconds for them to work their way through this protective dad, and we were singing and laughing. It was a magical transformation for us. For 7 years after that, every year my daughter had to have another operation. And you know what we did? Every year, we called the hospital and made sure that the clown doctors were working on the day that she had the operation, all 7 years. 2 of those years, they had to change the operation to a different date because they weren't working.
It's just pure clowning. You get to just be silly and brighten everybody's day and let them release some tension.
Sometimes we'll go into the emergency room, waiting room, and we'll just kind of sit down and start playing music and blowing bubbles. And next thing you know, all the kids are around us.
The main event that I've been involved in was the crisis at Newtown. The kids were able to be face painted and take off all happy and in another imaginary world. And the mother would just sit there often and say, "You have no idea what it's like to lose a child." But I do. Not in that kind of circumstance. But we did lose our daughter. And so I was able to relate to these parents on a different level. And yes, after that one, I went out and spent a long time with the therapy dogs and had myself a good cry. And went back in and face painted some more that day.
From time immemorial, the clown has lived at the very bottom of any given hierarchical ladder. You have a king, and a court, and a populace, and then you have a clown at the bottom. Take a look at the hierarchy of a hospital. You have an administration, doctors, nurses, patients, and that's the bottom. And if you're a child and a patient, then just imagine how powerless you are. Imagine the impact of a clown in that situation. Suddenly, as the patient, you're no longer on the bottom. So I met this gentleman named Wellington Noguera. He was actually just a mainstream actor, but when he got to the hospital and he witnessed another clown interacting with a patient, he immediately dropped what he was doing and moved into medical clowning. And he said to me, I went from an audience of thousands to an audience of one. Treat one person with as much respect, joy, celebration, love, and generosity as you would 1,000.
The world has become so absurd and hard to understand, and I feel like young people are going back to clowning because there's a healing kind of mission to it. You know, that's what a lot of people in the past did when they were like, oh, I want to be of service to the world, you know, I'll become a priest. And I think young people might be discovering now that clowning is a way to help the world. It's like being a secular priest. The only way that the world really gets better is if everyone does that, if everyone tries to step outside of their lane and offer gifts to the world.
It's more than just something you want to do. You're drawn to it. You know, you're addicted to making people feel better, making people laugh, reminding adults that, like, dude, we were kids. We were kids. And that's what I'm addicted to as a clown. It's like, I stay my kid. And I remind other people that they have their kid, you know? And I tell my wife that my kid makes us money.
At the 50th Clown College reunion, there were some people who were saying, I wonder where this is gonna go now that we don't have it. And other people were like, we've gotta stay together because we're all we have. And I was like, no, there's so many people. We have to keep doing it to keep it going.
2, 1, out. Ah! No matter how hard you try, you're never gonna kill the clown. It's not gonna happen. Now, we may have to get rid of the baggy pants. We may have to adjust here or there, but it's never gonna, well, you couldn't live without it. You gotta laugh, man. You have to laugh.
I think that the clown has just as much a chance as any other performer. We just gotta keep getting better, and we just gotta keep up with the times and not let us get stuck in this time capsule.
You're giving this gift out. The smiles and the laughter, it's a nice thing that you don't really see that much, you know?
Is he juggling? I'm about to start. Here I go. Oh, shit. Oh, no.
If you can give happiness and joy to somebody else, it's an incredible thing. It's an incredible feeling to have somebody truly find joy that may have not had it when they got there. You get them for 2 hours, turn their life around.
People ask you, what about clowning and why? It's like, all you have to do is do a party. You do a party and you see the effect that your work has on kids and then the parents and the older people that are there celebrating. That's why you do it. That's what it's about. That's why I loved doing parties when I did them and why I still fantasize about having that little car with a little trailer attached to it and pulling up, beep, beep, and the kids all come running out because they know. And if it's a 9-year-old boy party, they're pushing up their sleeves because they're like, let me at him, you know? That's the most memorable stuff for me.
Okay, what's it all about then? And really, it does come down to, like, I don't know, working with people you love. Doing something that's important to you, that you believe in.